Dear colleagues, dear friends, I have a pleasure to talk about the crowdsourcing. It's one of the hot topics of management and of PR as well. What's crowdsourcing? It's a term coined from two terms. One is the crowd and sourcing. And of course it is reminding us of outsourcing at the first sight. You see behind me, it's a very center of Belgrade, pedestrian zone, and there are a lot of people passing, and we call them the crowd. So how the crowd can become a source for our business and our production? If we go to the history, we always say the crowd had always its role. If you go to see the text of the antique dramas from ancient Greek, there is a crowd. The crowd is like an antique core. Or if you go to the Roman Empire, the crowd was a participant in the games, gladiator games and so on, having its own role. Now when we speak about crowdsourcing, we are thinking about the potentials of the crowd and the talent of the crowd. A friend of mine who is teaching in Italy used to say that he does not like the expression the crowd. It does not sound politely, but if you don't like it, you can see the power of the many. It means that we are using the power of the many in driving our business. The process described as crowdsourcing, as I said, it's a hot topic, is described recently. The first who used this expression was Jeff Howe, let's say famous journalist who edited one Wired article in 2006. Later he made a book, Crowdsourcing, Why the Power of the Crowd is Driving the Future of Business. And it was published in 2008, so quite recently, and became one of the bestsellers. So the point is how now the crowd is really driving the future of our business, and in the same time we are combining it with the power of the young generation, because we shall see that the crowd is not some undefined crowd, but it's also articulated via social networks, social groups, internet society and collaborative society, which can really interfere in our production process or creating our exhibitions or entertainment or whatever. I'll give you one example. A few days ago we got the Eurovision winner for 2012. It was a Swedish singer, Loreen. The second were Babushka's group from Russia with the party, and the third was Željko Joksimović from my town. Now I'll come to the point. If we have if we want to make a short festival in the city of Tomsk, and we have the dates, for instance, Monday Loreen is singing, Tuesday Željko is singing, and we combine with two Russian participants like Borachovskaya Babushki and your famous singer Dima. You are those who can decide whom do you want to combine with Loreen or with Željko. Would the Babushki play with Željko on Tuesday or Dima with Loreen on Monday? So we give the power to the crowd, to the citizens of Tomsk, to decide about the program. In fact, the crowd is deciding and designing the program. So we are not just hearing the opinion of the crowd or the potential participants or visitors, but we are giving them the power to make the program, and that is used in the event management and in the business which we call MICE and so on, special events. There are also very many other examples how we see the power of the crowd used in the everyday performance of the companies. Now we shall talk about it. We shall see what are also the preconditions for a successful crowdsourcing, and finally what are the benefits of using this special process. Now we shall focus more on the similarities of crowdsourcing with other mechanisms and processes and techniques which are used in management and PR. Speaking about crowdsourcing is always reminding people about outsourcing. When in the beginning of the 80s and 90s it became very popular to send jobs to India or to, let's say, to China for searching for cheaper labor or outsourcing some activities, it was always outsourcing some of the activities to the professionals or professional groups or to some companies or groups who have very defined and very advanced skills. So each of the companies, even small companies, are outsourcing some of the services like accounting, call centers, information, PR activities, or advertising. But crowdsourcing is quite the opposite trend. So instead of moving the activities out of our company to the province of specialized groups and professional groups, crowdsourcing tries to involve the society and the groups into our activity. This is also linked with the ever-changing and developing new media outlets and knowledge economy and informatics. Why are we speaking that the young generation should be playing the distinctive role in developing crowdsourcing? Because most of all, the young generation are, from one side, a big user of new media and also tending to group in social networks. And from the other side, the new generation are really consumers of cultural services, consumer goods and other products. They are spending either their own money or the money of their parents, but as consumers they are becoming very, very important in all the societies. So crowdsourcing is a kind of giving not only young people but all the people the power of changing our production process or making decision about what we want to do. That's why there are similarities with outsourcing, but in the way, to my mind, is quite opposite. So instead of giving to people who are professional and who are organized in companies, agencies, specialized groups, we speak about giving the power to the crowd. The second expression which can remind you somehow to outsourcing, to crowdsourcing, is prosuming. Prosuming is an expression or term coined from two. One is producing plus consuming, and or producer plus consumer, and the second is professional plus consumer. The expression was coined in the 80s by the famous futurologist Alvin Toffler, and usually it was considered as managing the link between those who are consuming something with professional skills and adapting the products and practically producing new products. Philip Kotler, a guru of marketing, is considering prosuming as one of the let's say philosophies or marketing approaches which can be part of the strategy of the company which is going, let's say, to sell the packages of a fertile land plus spices, that you could produce your own spices on the balconies of your homes in Tomsk or in Casino, in Sofia, Belgrade, or wherever. So we are consumers, but in the same time we are producers, or as Toffler or Kotler are saying, we are producing consumers, what's in fact prosumers. What is the difference between prosuming and crowdsourcing? It is that all the decisions are taken by the companies and the organizations, and the crowd has only to develop, let's say, a kind of the adding value to the components that they are buying, like do it yourself, producing your own food and so on. So, or let's say make some software, which will be a combination of the softwares and hardware you buy. So these are the, let's call the main areas of performing prosuming. Finally, we can mention also that most of the people now still do not understand the essence of crowdsourcing, that it's also not a market research, it's not just making a poll. So we are not interested in what people do think, what's also important, and how to produce something what would be relevant for the needs of the people and what would fit perfectly the needs, but it's also the people by themselves being a production power, productive power, and giving them the right to make the service that they want to enjoy or to consume. And also there are some other reminiscences. People sometimes mention, when I ask them what are the examples, they say it's tailor-made customization. Again, it's not. It is, you know, producing something toward the need of one person or a small group, but it is out of the essence of crowdsourcing. Now we shall also give some successful examples of crowdsourcing, and one of them was the campaign launched by Colgate in England. The English brand Colgate launched in 2011 a campaign smiling photos. That was a campaign when they called their fans to send 1 million photos via internet to the Facebook, and to choose the photos which would be the let's say put on the billboards around Great Britain. So the crowd is now in fact making a part of the job of the let's say media company or advertising company. So the company is making a noise, is asking people, is insisting on a healthy smile, healthy tooth, and also in the same time raising the awareness and the loyalty to the brand. The task was very ambitious, 1 million photos, but also it was pushed by the social responsibility campaign, because Colgate decided to give 1,000 pounds to a charity named Bernardo's, and only if they reach 1 million photos. So such a huge campaign could be only a part of a crowdsourcing process, and it is achieving many objectives. There are various examples how the crowdsourcing is managed and how it means in fact the tapping